This is the A to Z podcast. Expert insights on leadership, business, real estate, investing, and growth.
We all have most preferred communication style and preferences. Other people too. The question becomes whether we want to adjust our communication style according to the people that we communicate with. If we are professionals, leaders, entrepreneurs who want to get along, communicate with people around us, whether these are people who report to us or clients or our superiors or other strategic partners and so on, we need to modify our style according to each person that we communicate with. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you three things. The first one is what assessment could help you understand and recognize the communication style that you have. And then we're going to talk about the importance of communicating depending on the communication styles of others. And I'm going to give you some strategies on how to succeed in communicating with diverse people. The first question we should ask is, why should we care? Because I have my own most preferred communication style and preference that worked for me for years, maybe decades. Why should I change it? A legit question. But here is a reality. Other people too, they have preferences, they have a style. And now you are a leader, you are an entrepreneur, you are a professional who want to be successful. You want to adjust to the communication style and preferences of other people because you cannot connect, create rapport, and succeed and achieve results without adjusting your communication style. Let's talk about the assessment that could help you understand your communication preferences. It's called DISC. There are other assessments. I'm certified for these different assessments, but I'm going to pick just DISC. A lot of people know about DISC, DISC. D stands for dominance, I stands for influence, and S stands for steadiness, and S stands for conscientiousness. I'm not sure whether I pronounce it right now, right here. Sometimes I struggle to pronounce conscientiousness. Hopefully, I did it right. People who are D, they communicate directly. They are task-oriented, decisive, and very competitive. People who have I as their style, these are outgoing people, persuasive people. They are people-oriented. The third, which is the S, these are people who are dependable, patient. They are relationship dependent. The C, these are people who are analytical. Quality matters for them, and they expect precision. You could be a D, an I, or an S, or C. Great, there is nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong. It has been actually helping you to succeed. But if you are a D, and if you're not aware that there are other people who are ISC, what happens? You communicate all the time, assuming that other people are D. When you write email, you directly jump and talk about business. If you are meeting someone, you directly go to the business. But for other people, it doesn't resonate with them. It doesn't create rapport. It doesn't help you connect with them and accelerate the decision-making process. The question then becomes, okay, once I know my most preferred style by taking DISC, there are paid versions and also free versions. Once I understand my style, what's the next step? Think about this. You've been a D forever, for example, and now you're trying to communicate with people with I or S or C. It's not easy. The transition may become a little bit bumpy, but you can practice. You can practice to achieve at least to communicate with other preferences and styles with minimum casualties. I remember the first time I took DISC, I think it's 2013 or 14. I took the DISC assessment. I was not surprised. I was D first and then I second. You know, D, you're task oriented, you are direct, you make decisions quickly, you are competitive. That was me. And I looked back how much this D impacted me. And I'm going to give you one example. I was working in a corporation and my cubicle was at the end of the row, which means we had an open space. It's the office for our company, and there are many cubicles. And when I get up early morning to go to work, I directly go to my cubicles. I don't talk to people on the left, on the right. But there were people, now I know who they were. These are the I people, the S people. They say, "Hi, Izzy," or they even come out and stop me and talk to me. How was your weekend? How was family? What did you do during the weekend? You can imagine as a D in the workplace, that was not what I want to do. And back then, I didn't know that other people communicate differently than mine. I didn't handle it very well. Most probably, they felt like I didn't like people. Maybe they thought I don't care about their lives, but that was not the case. But it could come out like that. Once I realized that, I started to change. For example, when I write an email, if I know the person, I try to figure out, are they a D, an I, or S, or C? I couldn't be precise, but I want to guess, guess estimate. And then I'll say, okay, I know this person most probably is a D like me, and therefore I can communicate with them directly. And when I type the email, I say, "Hey, John, I need you to send me this by this date. Thank you." And you get email right away. Ezzy, here you go. They don't even say anything. Ezzy, here you go. Boom. They attach it, and I got it. But if I think someone is an I want to find something about them. Let's say that they had a birthday recently or they sent their kid to college. And when I type that email, I start with genuinely I care about their children, but back in the past I used to just talk about what I do, but now I realized that how can I show my care? How, especially the way they perceive is different than mine. If somebody sending me an email directly talking about business, I don't take it differently. I don't assume that, oh, he doesn't care how my weekend was, how my birthday was. I don't think like that. But other people may think like that. And then I may start, how was your weekend? How did it go? How are the kids? Or maybe I know you took your son to college. How did it go? Something like that. I chit chat a little bit before I go to the business. And even then, I use some emote icons to express my emotions. That way, I may resonate with them. I may connect with them better than directly going to business. You got the point. Someone, for example, if somebody is C, they are always looking for precision, quality, facts, numbers, stuff like that. When I communicate with that kind of people, what I do is I find some numbers into my message or some facts. And also, I tend to focus on quality, why we should do this with quality, something like that, to resonate with them. Now, some of you may think, AZ, don't you think this is manipulation? No, I'm not manipulating. I'm adjusting myself with their preference. What's the goal of communicating with somebody else? To achieve some results, for some outcome. You want something to happen. And therefore, what's best? Just to wing it? Just to focus on yourself and communicate the way you prefer to communicate? No, you want to mirror with that. Of course, I can make it very mechanical. For example, if somebody sits in front of you holding their hands, maybe you can mirror. At the back of their heads, they may make some judgments. They may feel like you are like them, or they may be sitting back or leaning forward, and therefore you can mirror with them. There are many techniques, but I don't want to go there. There are some experts that focus on that one, like mirroring. You pick the language they use and you repeat that. You see the way they use their gestures. If they don't use their gestures, don't use it. If they use in certain ways their gestures, mirror that. Good. I don't see any side effect on that one. But I don't want to focus on the cosmetic side of it, on the mechanical side of it. I want to focus more on the truth behind it, the science behind it, which is we communicate differently and we always get along quickly and accelerate decisions when we communicate with someone who aligns with our style. Now, let me give you a couple of strategies. First of all, know your preference. Take the free version, at least go online. When I do workshops or coaching, what we do is we want the participants to take the assessment. In most cases, almost always, we take the paid versions because the paid versions give you details, some strategies, they give you so many analysis. So we help them, we facilitate with the company who does the assessment online, and we have the result actually with us. We don't give it to them. We hold the results until the workshop. When they come, what we do is first, we want them to recognize their style manually inside the class. We arrange an activity, and based on that activity, I don't have time to detail it. Based on that very engaging, vibrant activity, they could be able to know whether they are DISC. Some people may be in the middle. Once they recognized, based on 8 questions that we ask them, then we give them the results, the online assessment result. And then we request them to compare the two. And sometimes some people see contradiction between the two. We always advise them, pick the one you did inside the class because you did it in the moment. You didn't know whether we're trying to figure out whether you are DI or SCC because we were not mentioning that. And also when you were going to take the assessment online, maybe you were preoccupied with recent events. Maybe you were overthinking about the questions. We don't know. Whatever the case may be, at least now you know your style. You have to be conscious about it before you adjust. The second thing I suggest is trying to understand the communication styles of others. The more you guesstimate what kind of styles they have, the more you could be able to communicate with them better. Of course, if you are a team, an organization, like the clients that we have, why not take this together? Take the DISC assessment together, have a day or full day, go through team building activity based on the DISC. In that case, you know the most preferred communication style of your boss or the people reporting to you, your coworkers. That way, it's transparent. Sometimes you can actually use sense of humor. I know you are a D, and therefore I'm doing this. I know you are a D, but we're reaching out to this person, but this person looks I. So, John, we need to adjust our approach with this class because you have taken the assessment, and inside the class, you had activity to know who you are, your preference, and others. But many people, you don't have that ability to take the assessment, so that you may not be able to talk to them like this, but at least you want to guess estimate. The third thing I advise always is, before you write an email, before you text, or before you go for a meeting, try your best to to put yourself in their shoes and trying to adjust yourself. It's a difficult job. And also, the fourth thing is, while you're communicating with someone, remember, we have our own most preferred mode. Maybe we are excited, maybe we're preoccupied, maybe we're very busy, and we may neglect and forget about their style. That's fine. It happens. We're humans. We're not robots. We're not AI. But be mindful in your communication so that you quickly adjust. And I have caught myself like that. I'm a guy who's excited all the time. Talk about great things that we could do together. What new things you've learned? What's the next thing you want to do? I'm this kind of person. But sometimes I catch myself. I see someone who's about to retire, and sometimes they remind me, AJ, I'm about to retire. And I say, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And I adjust. I don't take it personal. I'm not trying to say, oh no, even if you are retiring, da da da. No. In the past, I used to do that. Now I immediately adjust. I miss the mark. I immediately adjust. Or before they tell me, I catch myself and correct that. If you do these things, you improve your communication. The more you mirror your communications with others, the more you connect, the more you increase rapport. And most importantly, the most important part is the most easier things become, and you accelerate the decision making process. In conclusion, we need to know who we are, our preferred style, adjust with others, and come up with some strategies before we go out to communicate with other people. With practice, we could be able to do it like that. It becomes our habit, it's wired in us, tattooed in us, and we could be able to adjust on the fly. I hope this helped you. Until I see you another time, have a wonderful time. If you have a team organization, if you need a workshop based on DISC or any other assessment to build your team, reach out. We're going to help you. Bye-bye.